It ends today. Well, no, not really. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifleman. I stand before you humbled, and I feel like I need to explain myself because I went out and I purchased a SIG P320. This is the P320 Carry. This is an OG P320. This one was made in 2018, as near as I can tell. The date codes on the Trigicon night sights are from 2017. And the P320 Carry, minus the peanut butter livery and the useless thumb safety. Well, it's not useless, but it's also not really a safety. This is identical to the M18, which is, most of you already know, the Army adopted the M17 and all three other branches adopted the M18, which is slightly more compact. The M17 is about 3/4 of an inch longer than this pistol. But this particular example was manufactured right around the time that the Marine Corps was receiving its first shipments of M18 pistols. And that's what I wanted. This one's a police trade-in. It's not in perfect condition. It's got some scuff marks on it, and it's got some real scratches on the slide. Looks like it might have been banged into a concrete wall or two. The grip module has seen some wear, but overall it's in very good condition. Again, it's a police trade-in. This is the first time that I have found a P320 that was selling for what I consider to be a reasonable price. As recently as 6 months ago, prior to the Air Force incident, these things were selling, even police trade-ins that you buy sight unseen off the internet, were selling in the high 300s up into the mid 400s, and I just didn't want to spend that kind of money. And I told you very publicly 3 months ago that I had no interest in striker-fired polymer friend SIGs, and that I had no intention of ever buying a P320. But I also predicted that the Department of Defense, Department of War, whatever it's calling itself now, was going to get rid of the P320. They were going to pull the M17 and M18 from service and replace them with something else, most likely the Glock 19X. And that is clearly not the case. I thought this was the death knell for the P320. I thought it was a death sentence for Sig Sauer as a company. And I thought the M17 and M18 were going away. Because there are a lot of other products, like the Glock 19X, like the Beretta APX, like the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0. Those are the ones I can speak to because I own them, that you have absolutely no chance of the thing going off inside the holster. But in reality, the P320 is probably not going to go off. It's probably not going to shoot itself despite all the memes. I'm still not that interested in it. I have not purchased a holster for this pistol because I have no intention of carrying it. I have other pistols which are operationally very similar to it, at least in the way they're the job that they're supposed to do, that I know aren't going to shoot me. So why would I carry this thing around in a holster? But I finally came to the conclusion that if I could get one cheap enough, I wanted a reference example. I've read all of the technical bulletins. I've read all the reports of the investigations into various unintentional discharges. I've looked at the mechanical drawings. I've watched all the videos. I've watched the videos about the videos of the incidents. And I had a pretty good understanding of how the fire control unit in this pistol works and what its relationship was with the sear engagement surface on the striker assembly in the slide and the tolerance issues between frame and slide. But until I could actually get my hands on it, and I didn't have anybody to borrow one from, or I don't really want to ask somebody to borrow their pistol so I can start tinkering with it, I thought I needed a reference example. Maybe I just wanted an excuse to buy another gun, but I got this one for less than $300. I don't know what SIG's been doing behind the scenes. Their response to this entire fiasco has been abhorrent, in my opinion, but they are probably massaging stuff behind the scenes. Clearly, if they knew how to solve this problem entirely, they would have done that by now. They haven't. So clearly they don't. But they probably have been making subtle little changes to the mechanism to make it less likely. They probably have some ideas. And I wanted an original P320 from the time it was adopted, which is what I have here now. It's in pretty good shape, and I'm sure it's going to appear in a bunch of videos going forward. But I wanted to shoot it, so that's what I'm out here for today. It came with one magazine, and the company that I bought it from, it came with no hard case, it came with no pamphlet, it came with no trigger lock, it came in a padded mailing envelope. It was in a box. It arrived at my FFL in a box, but it was just in a padded envelope with nothing else, just a pistol and a single mag in a padded bag. And these are obviously well-used law enforcement examples. And I purchased a second one because, as most of you probably already know, SIG magazines in general and P320 mags are no exception to the rule, extremely expensive. But I got a second police trade-in magazine here for $19. So I thought, why not? I should have at least two magazines, even if I'm not intending to carry this pistol and use it defensively. So let's go ahead and shoot it. Now, we all know this is the U.S. military's pistol, minus the peanut butter paint and the thumb safety. So I'm using military ammo. Now, SIG developed a very specific round which they are supplying to the military to go along with the P320. I don't have any of those. What I do have is Winchester 124 grain 9mm NATO ammo. This is mil-spec NATO ammo. It was made in 2025. It has a Winchester head stamp, and it's got the NATO circle cross head stamp. So, although that's not the ammo that this pistol was specifically paired with by SIG, the P320, as our military's pistol, should be able to handle 9mm NATO ammo. This isn't meant to be a long video. I don't have paper targets set up. I'm just going to shoot at some steel plates out here and give you my initial impressions of the P320. I have bought a couple of things, which I'll talk about in the future. Again, I wanted an old school P320 because I want it to be just like what the military adopted. But it is, of course, a modular design. Now, there are a ton of aftermarket parts available. I have not purchased, and I don't intend to anytime in the near future, purchase any fire control unit parts, replacement triggers or sears or anything like that, that would change the mechanical workings of this pistol. There's a couple of things I don't really like. SIG's plastics are incredibly cheap looking. It's one of the reasons I got rid of my SP 2022, which was a pistol that I really liked. SIG puts this satin finish on their plastics that makes it look like a polyethylene toolbox that you would buy off of a shelf for $3 in the hardware aisle at Walmart. It is made of nylon 12 or polyamide 12. It's 23% glass reinforced. So it's a quality material, but the finish just looks really cheap. And if you even scratch this thing slightly with your fingernail, it leaves a shiny scuff mark on here that will never ever go away, and it just really bothers me. So I bought and also I want to preserve what's left of this grip module for the future. This again is the earliest style. There's no window here for a QR code. There's just a serial number there. But I bought a replacement grip module made by Magpul. They've been out for about 10 months at this point. They have been really, really hard to find, but I managed to find one in stock. It's arriving tomorrow. And the other thing I want to replace, I don't really like the slide catch, slide stop, slide release, whatever you like to refer to it as, because I don't want to have that argument. There's a fence here on the grip module that, and the slide release itself, or the slide, this little lever, whatever you want to call it, is small enough that I have a hard time with my old thumb getting on there and locking the slide open. I don't have any problems releasing the slide. So I bought a new slide stop from Wilson Combat. That's also arriving tomorrow. So I am updating the pistol a little bit, but mechanically I'm leaving it as it came from the factory because I want that to refer back to if there are new incidents in the future and in the news that I want to take a look at this. So a couple of ergonomic changes, and that's about it. So here we go. I've talked long enough. Let's see how the P320 functions. Wow, that trigger is quite nice. I can tell that the high bore axis does make it kind of snappy. It seems it is rather snappy. You can tell the high bore axis. It's not unmanageable, however. It's not uncomfortable to shoot. So the second magazine. So it is a little bit snappy, not unmanageable. Yeah, I warmed it up a little bit. No malfunctions of any kind in two magazines. Not that I was really expecting any. So we'll see. I've got a P320 now. I'm not going to be carrying it. I'm not going to be... I could see myself potentially staging it somewhere in the house for home defense, but I'm certainly not going to be carrying it around on a holster on my hip because there are better options. I don't know that they're better at shooting necessarily. This seems to be fine, but there are options that I already own that don't have any reports of going off unintentionally. So this will certainly be appearing in future videos, and when it does, I hope to see each of you here then. Later, guys.